The stars had always watched in silence, distant observers to humanity's fragile existence. Yet on that fateful day, when a single act of cruelty echoed across the void, the murder of a human girl by alien forces, the galaxy would witness something it had never anticipated. Earth's hidden fleet, long kept secret beyond the eyes of even the most advanced surveillance, stirred from centuries of patient waiting. Engines hummed quietly, and the hulls of warships, massive and gleaming, reflected distant starlight as though the cosmos itself had lent them focus. On the bridge of the flagship, officers moved with measured precision. Every system monitored, every sensor active, not for routine patrol, but for war, the kind that required intellect, foresight, and the unyielding heart of a species that refused to bow. Across the void, alien fleets celebrated an easy victory, blind to the reckoning they had invoked. They believed a single act of cruelty could define humanity's place. They were wrong. The hidden fleet emerged from the shadows of nebulas, from the gravitational skirts of dead worlds, from sectors of space thought abandoned by mankind. Ships of every class, sleek frigates, massive carriers, and vessels unlike anything previously recorded, aligned with silent purpose. Communication was instantaneous, yet unspoken, a synchronization born of years of preparation, discipline, and shared resolve. Humanity's hidden strength revealed itself not in arrogance, but in patience, in the quiet certainty that every life mattered, and that every violation of that principle demanded justice. Beyond the hulls of the fleet, stars glimmered like witnesses, distant yet attentive. Energy fields flickered to life as the fleet exited cloaking arrays, magnetic drives humming in harmony with the pulse of humanity's collective will. Smaller fighter craft darted forward, scouting the edges of alien-controlled space, mapping every approach, every weakness. Every system was alive with anticipation, not fear, an understanding that intelligence and moral clarity could outweigh the brute force of even the largest enemy armadas. In the quiet moments between operational readiness and imminent battle, crew members allowed themselves a brief reflection. The girl whose life had been stolen was not merely a casualty, she was a symbol. Each soldier, pilot, and officer understood the weight of action, the responsibility of vengeance tempered by honor. Humanity had never sought war for conquest alone. They sought balance, justice, and the affirmation that no species, however vast or powerful, could disregard them with impunity. As the first alien patrols came into sensor range, confusion rippled through their formations. They expected a minimal human presence, perhaps a token resistance. What they did not expect was perfection in coordination, foresight in maneuvering, and the quiet, unshakable resolve that radiated from every Terran vessel. Weapons systems powered up, shields rippled with anticipation, and the invisible hand of strategy began to guide the fleet like a conductor leading an orchestra, each ship a note in a symphony of impending reckoning. And as the void stretched endless and silent before them, humanity's hidden hand moved with purpose, ready to remind the galaxy that no cruelty, no act of arrogance, could ever escape the vigilance of those who refused to bow. The hidden fleet advanced, not with haste, but with the precision of a predator that had stalked its prey across centuries. Every ship moved as though connected by a single mind. Yet each maintained its own autonomy, capable of instant adaptation. Alien scouts spotted the edges of the Terran formation, expecting to provoke panic, to test the human defenses. What they instead encountered was perfection in anticipation. Energy shields flared in synchronized pulses, fighter wings darted with lethal elegance, and the void itself seemed to bend around human strategy, as if space acknowledged the arrival of a species that would not be underestimated. The flagship, massive and awe-inspiring, cut through the darkness like a beacon of resolve. Its hull shimmered under the light of distant stars, engines glowing faintly with restrained power. On board, officers monitored dozens of projections simultaneously, alien fleet vectors, potential ambush zones, gravitational anomalies, and energy fluctuations. Every calculation, every prediction, was executed with a precision that bordered on the preternatural. Engineers adjusted reactor outputs, rerouted power to shields, and optimized weapon arrays in real time. Pilots prepared for rapid deployment, their training and instincts honed to the point where the line between human and machine blurred, each action guided by intellect, intuition, and moral clarity. Alien forces, believing the human fleet to be a minor threat, advanced recklessly. Massive cruisers concentrated fire on what they thought was the flagship, assuming overwhelming numbers would crush any opposition. They did not anticipate intelligence. Countermeasures activated with lightning speed, kinetic deflectors rippled outward to intercept incoming projectiles, energy nets rerouted enemy missiles, and automated drones targeted vital systems with surgical precision. Every offensive maneuver the aliens attempted became a lesson in adaptive thinking. Every calculated strike turned into a demonstration of human foresight and ingenuity. Meanwhile, smaller Terran ships executed flanking maneuvers with breathtaking efficiency. Fighters weaved through asteroid belts and debris fields, turning environmental hazards into tactical advantages. Boarding teams prepped for potential encounters, corridors and hatches rigged with magnetic pulses, energy barriers, and improvised traps. Alien boarding parties, expecting disarray and confusion, instead faced calculated resistance, disorientation, and precise counterattacks. Humanity's strength lay not merely in weapons, but in the application of intelligence, anticipation, and ethical restraint, each move designed to neutralize without unnecessary destruction. Allied species, long aided by human diplomacy and courage, began to join the engagement. Their ships, varied in design and technology, moved in perfect synchronization with Terran tactics. Energy beams converged on enemy formations with breathtaking coordination, shields interlocked seamlessly, and fighter squadrons executed maneuvers that fractured Imperial formations without chaos. The galaxy bore witness to a coalition not built on coercion, but on trust, gratitude, and shared purpose. Humanity's long-forged bonds demonstrated that unity, intellect, and morality could amplify raw firepower into decisive action. In the corridors of the flagship, the crew maintained calm precision. Engineers rerouted damaged power grids to maintain critical systems, medics stabilized injured personnel amid sparks and smoke, and officers coordinated tactical maneuvers across multiple vectors. Every decision reflected centuries of survival wisdom, blending creativity, moral responsibility, and strategic brilliance. The galaxy had underestimated humanity for too long, believing survival to be mere instinct. They were discovering now that survival, guided by intelligence and purpose, could redefine the balance of power across the stars. The first significant clash occurred near a cluster of shattered moons. Imperial ships concentrated energy beams on the Terran flagship, hoping to cripple the command center and scatter the fleet. Humans anticipated every angle, shields pulsed in microsecond synchronization with incoming fire, kinetic fields deflected beams toward enemy vessels, and counterstrike drones disabled targeting arrays before critical damage occurred. The alien strike, intended to destroy, instead highlighted human mastery over strategy, improvisation, and moral precision. One by one, enemy ships faltered, their formations unraveling under pressure applied with unerring logic and unbreakable resolve. Quiet moments persisted even amid chaos. Crew members observed distant nebulae, glimmering debris, and shattered planets, grounding themselves in purpose. The girl whose life had sparked this retaliation was never far from their thoughts, and every maneuver, every defensive tactic, and every calculated strike was a testament to her memory. Humanity's fight was never just survival, it was justice, principle, and the affirmation that no act of cruelty would go unanswered. As the Terran fleet tightened its formation and prepared for the next wave of assaults, the galaxy began to tremble. What had been assumed to be a minor human presence was, in truth, a force of intellect, foresight, and unyielding courage. Every alien commander now faced an impossible reality. Humanity was no longer a fledgling species to underestimate. They were a reckoning, silent yet unstoppable, brilliant yet merciful, and united not by fear, but by purpose and moral clarity. And as the first streaks of light from distant stars reflected off the Terran hulls, the galaxy realized, the hidden fleet had awoken, and nothing would ever be the same. The Terran fleet advanced deeper into the heart of enemy-controlled space, every ship a node in a network of strategic brilliance. Alien forces, believing they faced only scattered resistance, were met with a coordinated machine of intellect and moral resolve. Energy shields pulsed in harmonious rhythm across the fleet, flares of light dancing along hulls like silent warnings, while smaller vessels threaded the void with impossible precision, weaving through debris fields, asteroid belts, and the shattered remnants of moons. Each maneuver was designed not merely to evade, but to control, to dictate the flow of battle before a single shot was fired. The flagship loomed at the center, a cathedral of engineering and human ingenuity. Its surface shimmered with adaptive armor, energy conduits glowing faintly as they redistributed power to weapons, shields, and propulsion. On board, officers and engineers moved with a practiced calm, analyzing dozens of tactical projections simultaneously. Every alien formation, every predicted maneuver, was accounted for in a system of overlapping contingencies. Even the fleet's smaller vessels, independently operating yet perfectly synchronized, executed maneuvers that forced enemy commanders into impossible choices. Humanity had turned anticipation into a weapon, precision into philosophy, and moral clarity into tactical advantage. The first wave of alien cruisers advanced aggressively, concentrating fire on the flagship in hopes of shattering the fleet's command. Human systems reacted instantly, kinetic deflectors rippled outward. Energy pulses redirected beams into abandoned sectors, and counterstrike drones disabled targeting arrays with surgical accuracy. Every offensive action the Empire attempted became a study in failure, every expected human reaction was anticipated, outmaneuvered, and neutralized. The aliens had assumed unpredictability would work against humans, yet it was the human capacity to predict, adapt, and execute with moral and strategic clarity that overwhelmed them. Boarding operations erupted simultaneously on multiple fronts. Alien intruders poured into vessels, expecting confusion and chaos. Instead, they encountered corridors prepped with magnetic pulses, energy nets, and holographic illusions. Human boarding teams moved like shadows, using environmental hazards to immobilize aggressors, turning the very architecture of ships into tactical advantage. Engineers improvised defenses mid-combat, medics stabilized allies under flickering lights and cascading sparks, and soldiers executed maneuvers that turned the enemy's own momentum against them. The battle was not merely a clash of arms, it was an exhibition of intellect, creativity, and resolve. Allied species, long nurtured by human diplomacy, joined the fray with breathtaking coordination. Ships of varied design, once strangers, moved as extensions of the Terran strategy. Energy beams converged with precision, fighter wings executed maneuvers that fractured enemy formations. And shields interlocked in ways the Empire could not anticipate. This was not conquest, it was unity born of respect, loyalty, and shared purpose. The galaxy witnessed the power of cooperation, intellect, and moral determination amplified across species, an unbroken chain of calculated brilliance. Amid the chaos, the flagship's tactical bridge became a hub of controlled urgency. Holographic projections displayed dozens of engagements simultaneously. Every crew member, from engineers and medics to pilots and tactical officers, acted with unerring precision, their decisions amplified by both instinct and calculation. The humans had turned what the Empire considered strength into vulnerability. Every firepower concentration, every maneuver, every boarder sent into the corridors was met with a counter born of foresight, adaptability, and ethical calculation. Humanity had redefined the very rules of engagement. The first decisive battle erupted near a field of shattered moons, where gravitational anomalies twisted trajectories unpredictably. Alien cruisers attempted to exploit the terrain, concentrating fire on Terran vessels caught near debris. Yet humans had anticipated this. Auxiliary energy grids redirected power to shields that adapted in real time, kinetic fields deflected beams into enemy lines, and precision drones sabotaged propulsion arrays before critical strikes could land. The supposed advantage of the Empire became a trap, and their attacks, intended to annihilate, instead demonstrated the terrifying efficiency of human foresight and ingenuity. Even amidst the roaring engines, flashing energy, and the chaos of boarding engagements, humans allowed themselves quiet moments of reflection. Crew members gazed at distant nebulae, shattered planets, and the faint glow of stars stretching across the void, grounding themselves in purpose. The memory of the girl whose life had ignited this campaign was never far from their minds. Every decision, every defensive move, and every offensive strike honored her memory, not with blind vengeance, but with controlled, righteous action. Humanity's fight was as much moral as it was tactical, proving that intelligence guided by principle could overcome even overwhelming force. As the fleet tightened its formation and prepared for the next phase of engagement, alien command structures began to fracture. Ships faltered, formations broke apart, and AI systems designed to calculate human weakness failed against a species whose strength was not brute force, but foresight, adaptability, and unbreakable resolve. The galaxy, once indifferent to humanity, now trembled at the revelation of a species whose ingenuity and moral clarity could turn disaster into triumph, and as the Terran fleet glided through the cosmic battlefield, every sensor and every mind aligned in unison, the universe bore witness. Humanity had awoken, and nothing would ever challenge them the same way again. The Terran fleet advanced relentlessly, every vessel moving as if guided by a single, unerring consciousness. Alien forces scrambled to regroup, sending waves of cruisers and dreadnoughts in attempts to corral what they still believed was a limited human presence. They underestimated not only humanity's fleet but its foresight, its ability to calculate, anticipate, and exploit every weakness with precision and moral clarity. The void became a stage, a theater of intellect and courage, where the humans wrote a narrative no alien force could predict. The flagship led the formation, its hull gleaming with adaptive energy, every surface a canvas of calculated brilliance. On board, officers monitored projections that extended light years across, mapping the Empire's maneuvers with near-prescient accuracy. Engineers adjusted power conduits to balance shields, propulsion, and weapons simultaneously, while pilots prepared their sorties, weaving through asteroid fields, gravity wells, and remnants of shattered moons with flawless timing. Each action was a thread in an intricate tapestry of strategy, every movement designed to control the battlefield and neutralize the Empire's overwhelming firepower before it could land a decisive blow. Alien cruisers advanced aggressively, focusing volleys of plasma, energy beams, and missiles on the flagship and its escorts. But the humans had anticipated their calculations. Kinetic deflectors rippled outward, diverting the majority of fire into abandoned space, while counter-drone arrays disrupted targeting systems with surgical precision. Fighter squadrons darted through the chaos, luring enemy craft into ambushes where energy nets immobilized them and precision strikes disabled engines without destroying the vessel. Every offensive maneuver executed by the Empire became a mirror of failure, every attack an opportunity for humans to demonstrate foresight and ingenuity. Boarding operations erupted simultaneously across multiple enemy vessels. Alien intruders, expecting disorder and panic, were met with corridors rigged with magnetic pulses, energy barriers, and holographic illusions. Human boarding teams moved like shadows, taking advantage of environmental hazards, improvising mid-combat, and striking with precision. Engineers converted damaged systems into tactical advantages, medics stabilized allies amid collapsing infrastructure, and soldiers transformed ordinary corridors into deadly traps. Each engagement highlighted humanity's hallmark, intelligence combined with courage, creativity, and moral resolve. Allied species, previously aided by humanity, began to converge in perfect synchrony. Ships of divergent design, now seamlessly integrated into Terran strategy, unleashed converging firepower that fractured enemy formations, while energy shields interlocked in a near-impenetrable lattice. Fighter wings executed maneuvers so precise that entire squadrons of alien vessels were forced to retreat or be neutralized without chaos. The galaxy bore witness to a coalition built not on fear or coercion, but on loyalty, respect, and shared purpose. Humanity's capacity for unity amplified intellect into decisive advantage, demonstrating that moral clarity and strategic brilliance could shape the course of cosmic warfare. As the battle escalated near a shattered star system, the flagship executed a maneuver that left enemy commanders in awe. Its trajectory, weaving between gravitational anomalies and debris fields, placed it at the center of the Empire's concentrated fire, yet every incoming volley was calculated, every countermeasure timed to perfection. Auxiliary drones disrupted targeting arrays, shields rippled to deflect plasma beams into enemy lines, and energy pulses disabled propulsion systems with non-lethal precision. The aliens, masters of brute force, found themselves ensnared in the web of human ingenuity and foresight. In quieter moments, the crew of the flagship reflected on the stakes. Beyond the chaos of battle, beyond the roar of engines and the flash of energy, they glimpsed the stars, silent witnesses to human resilience. The girl whose life had ignited this campaign was never forgotten. Each strike, each maneuver, each calculated act of defense or offense carried her memory, a symbol of humanity's refusal to be subjugated, to be disregarded, or to be underestimated. Humanity fought not for conquest, but for justice, principle, and the affirmation of its intrinsic worth among the stars. The Imperial command attempted a desperate recalibration, concentrating fire on the Terran formation's flanks, hoping to exploit perceived weaknesses. Humans anticipated every variable. Kinetic shields adapted, drone arrays neutralized missile clusters, and auxiliary energy grids redistributed power to maintain full operational capacity. Even as alien dreadnoughts closed in, pilots executed micromaneuvers that threaded through debris fields, striking vital points and collapsing enemy formations from within. The Empire's arrogance, their belief in predictable outcomes, became the instrument of their defeat. Amid the crescendo of destruction and strategy, humanity's presence radiated something beyond tactical mastery, moral purpose, ethical clarity, and unshakable resolve. Every ship, every crew member, and every allied force moved in harmony, demonstrating that the sum of intellect and morality exceeded the sum of raw power. The galaxy witnessed not merely a battle, but a revelation. A species that had been underestimated for millennia had arrived. Unbowed, unbroken, and unstoppable in both mind and heart, and as energy flares illuminated the void and the remnants of enemy fleets scattered, the Terran fleet advanced with unwavering purpose, an unrelenting testament to what it truly meant to be human. The Terran fleet pressed forward with relentless precision, every vessel and node in an invisible network of intellect and moral determination. Alien forces, still reeling from the fleet's calculated strikes, scrambled to regroup, but their coordination faltered under the weight of human foresight. They attempted to concentrate fire on isolated Terran vessels, hoping to fracture the formation, yet every trap they set was anticipated. Every attack neutralized, and every maneuver countered with brilliance born of centuries of preparation. The galaxy watched as a species once dismissed as fragile now orchestrated cosmic warfare with surgical perfection. The flagship glided at the heart of the formation, its surface rippling with adaptive energy as shields dynamically redistributed power to critical systems. On board, officers monitored projections that stretched light years into enemy territory, plotting not only tactical maneuvers but contingencies for every conceivable counterattack. Engineers rerouted energy in microseconds, ensuring weapons, propulsion, and shields remained optimized even under concentrated assault. Pilots and fighter wings executed precision strikes, threading between asteroids, debris, and gravitational anomalies to strike at enemy weak points before they could react. Every move, every pulse of energy, every trajectory spoke of humans who had transformed intellect into an unstoppable force. Boarding operations surged across the battlefield, corridors of alien vessels turned into arenas of human strategy and ingenuity. Intruders who expected confusion and fear found themselves ensnared by magnetic pulses, energy traps, and improvised barriers. Human boarding teams moved with stealth and purpose, using environmental hazards as weapons and improvising tactics in real time. Engineers converted damaged systems into tactical advantages. Medics stabilized allies amid sparks and collapsing hulls, and soldiers executed maneuvers that forced enemies to surrender or be neutralized with minimal loss of life. Every engagement reflected humanity's hallmark, creativity fused with courage and guided by moral clarity. Allied fleets joined in perfect synchrony, amplifying Terran strategy across the battlefield. Ships of diverse origin, once disparate, now operated as extensions of human foresight. Energy beams converged on enemy formations with surgical precision, shields interlocked across fleets, and fighter wings executed maneuvers that shattered enemy cohesion. The galaxy bore witness to a coalition built not on fear or coercion, but on gratitude, loyalty, and shared principle. Humanity's ability to unite, coordinate, and lead demonstrated that strategy was only effective when combined with intellect and ethical purpose. The pivotal clash occurred near a shattered star system, a field of twisted gravitational anomalies and shattered moons. Imperial dreadnoughts concentrated fire, aiming to overwhelm the flagship and break the fleet center. But humans had anticipated every variable. Kinetic shields rippled in perfect synchronization, drones intercepted missiles, and counterstrike arrays disabled critical systems on approaching vessels. The aliens' supposed advantage turned into a trap. Every offensive action was absorbed, deflected, and repurposed against them. The fleet's combined intellect and moral restraint transformed potential chaos into decisive advantage. Even amidst the roar of engines, the flash of energy, and the chaos of boarding engagements, humans paused to reflect. They glimpsed the distant nebulae, shattered planets, and faint starlight across the void, grounding themselves in purpose. The girl whose death had ignited this campaign remained a silent guide, her memory a symbol of humanity's refusal to bow to cruelty or injustice. Every strike, every maneuver, every calculated act of defense or offense honored her legacy. Humanity fought not for conquest, but for justice, principle, and the affirmation of its intrinsic worth among the stars. The final wave of Imperial reinforcements arrived, massive cruisers and dreadnoughts converging with overwhelming firepower. Yet the Terran fleet moved with unparalleled coordination. Pilots executed threading maneuvers between debris and gravity wells, drones disabled engines mid-flight, and energy beams converged on enemy weak points with pinpoint accuracy. Alien ships faltered as formations collapsed, AI systems malfunctioned under the weight of human unpredictability, and morale crumbled. The Empire's arrogance had become its undoing. Every attack became a testament to the humans' foresight, ingenuity, and moral resolve. In the heat of battle, the flagship's bridge was a picture of calm authority. Officers coordinated dozens of engagements simultaneously, engineers fine-tuned energy flows in microseconds, and tactical drones moved with near-living precision. Humanity's strength lay not only in firepower but in the application of intellect and principle, transforming strategy into art, foresight into inevitability, and moral clarity into decisive victory. The galaxy, which had once underestimated them, now trembled at the realization that this species' brilliance could not be ignored, and as the first Imperial formations broke completely, scattering into the void, the Terran fleet pressed onward with unyielding determination, an unbroken statement that humanity would never be underestimated. Never ignored, and never broken, the Terran fleet advanced into the shattered remnants of what the Empire had once considered secure space. Entire war zones, scattered across light years, became theaters for human ingenuity, foresight, and unyielding resolve. Alien dreadnoughts, massive and armed with devastating firepower, attempted one final consolidation, hoping sheer size could intimidate and scatter humanity's forces. They had miscalculated, once again. Every step the humans took had been anticipated, every possible outcome prepared for, and every maneuver executed with the precision of centuries-honed intellect. The flagship, colossal and radiant under distant starlight, led the charge. Its hull glimmered with adaptive shields, energy conduits dancing along reinforced plates, and weapon systems primed with both destructive power and surgical precision. Holographic displays projected the positions of every enemy vessel, every allied ship, and every gravitational hazard across a region wider than many star systems. Every officer, every engineer, every pilot, moved in perfect synchrony, their actions guided by instinct, intellect, and an unwavering moral purpose. Humanity had learned that survival alone was not enough. True mastery came from intelligence tempered by ethics, courage amplified by foresight. The aliens, desperate and panicked, launched volleys meant to obliterate the Terran fleet in one decisive strike. Plasma beams lanced across the void, missile swarms converged in elegant arcs, and drones swarmed to disable key systems. The humans anticipated every tactic. Kinetic shields flared with rhythmic precision, energy pulses deflected and redirected incoming fire into enemy formations, and counter-drones struck critical points with lethal accuracy. Every attempted offensive by the Empire became a display of human brilliance, the art of turning chaos into control, destruction into advantage, and overwhelming force into strategic failure. Boarding actions erupted simultaneously across the remaining enemy vessels. Alien intruders, expecting human panic or confusion, found themselves ensnared in corridors transformed into tactical traps. Magnetic pulses immobilized aggressors, energy nets redirected movements, and environmental hazards were turned into weapons of improvisation. Human boarding teams moved like shadows, disabling critical systems, securing command centers, and converting enemy technology into tools of advantage. Engineers rerouted damaged systems mid-combat, medics stabilized injured allies under falling debris, and soldiers executed maneuvers that demonstrated not just skill, but foresight, adaptability, and moral resolve. Allied fleets, long nurtured by humanity's diplomacy and courage, joined in the final engagement. Ships of divergent design, previously considered incompatible, operated as a single, cohesive force. Energy beams converged with mathematical precision, shields interlocked across fleets, and fighter wings executed maneuvers that shattered enemy cohesion. The galaxy bore witness to unity born of gratitude, trust, and shared principle, amplifying Terran strategy across the battlefield. Human leadership had turned cooperation into power, intelligence into inevitability, and moral clarity into decisive victory. The final battle reached its zenith near a colossal neutron star, the gravitational forces twisting trajectories unpredictably. Alien dreadnoughts, concentrated in one massive assault, were met with microsecond perfect maneuvers, energy redirection, and synchronized counterattacks. Auxiliary drones disabled engines, shields rippled to absorb concentrated fire, and Terran fighters exploited every anomaly, threading through gravity wells to strike at critical weak points. The Empire's overwhelming force, once considered invincible, unraveled before intellect, strategy, and moral purpose. Amid the roar of engines, flashing beams, and chaotic debris, the human crews paused to witness the scale of their triumph. Across shattered moons, distant nebulae, and empty star systems, the galaxy saw the truth: humanity was not a species to be underestimated. The girl whose life had sparked this campaign remained a silent witness, her memory honored in every act of courage, foresight, and ethical resolve. Humans had proven that intelligence guided by principle, and courage amplified by moral clarity, could shape the course of history across the stars. As the last Imperial vessels fled or surrendered, the Terran flagship and its fleet moved with deliberate grace through the void. Ships interlocked into formations that radiated authority, strength, and unity. Pilots, engineers, and soldiers alike understood that this was more than victory, it was a declaration: humanity would never bow, never be dismissed, and never allow cruelty or arrogance to go unchallenged. Every beam, every maneuver, every tactical choice had been a message across light years: the galaxy had misjudged humanity for the last time. In the calm after the storm, as energy flares faded and debris drifted silently in the void, the Terran fleet stood unbroken, its presence a monument to foresight, courage, and the unshakable will of a species awakened. For centuries they had waited, prepared, and refined. For centuries, the galaxy had doubted them. And now, in one sweeping testament to intellect, unity, and moral clarity, humanity had risen. And as the void settled into silent reverence, one truth remained: the galaxy had awakened to the unstoppable brilliance of humankind.